Good morning, YouTube! What's up, guys? Today we are doing the daily puzzle for what's the date? November 10th. Alright. Alright, so here we have two rooks. And it looks like we're getting near a back rank. Maybe we can put a rook here or something like on the third file and maybe fork the king and the queen, but I think that's a little too passive. I think what we should really focus on is the checkmate that is, coming soon. So how do we create this checkmate? What we have to do is we have to... Oh, that's really neat. Wait, I just thought of something. So, this king and this rook, notice its position. Its position is just as if, it's in the starting position, right? The piece placement is just as if it's in the starting position. And in studies, you have to assume always, that you can always castle. All right? So if you see a king and a rook here, you know that king to c1 or castle is a viable option. Alright, so when we castle, our rook would go to d1 and then check the king, right? I think that's the first step. Here, now notice we got the king in between the first row and the third row. So technically, this king can only go to the second row. We have trapped it. We have given it walls, barriers. And so how do we push it back to this row? We want to backrack it, right? So how do we push it back? I think we have to give a check here. Perfect. Now what we got to do is we got to move this king out of the way and let this rook come back to checkmate, right? So what do we do? We should be able to come back here maybe and then move the king out of the way. Alright, perfect. Now we can move the king out of the way, right? Well, actually we can't because this king has a role in defending this rook. And so if the king moves to b2, it loses protection over d2 and the black king will be able to take, right? So that's a problem. So what do we do instead? I think what we have to do is we have to move our rook, right? So where do we move our rook to? It's pretty interesting. Can we maybe move it here? What if we move it here? Not that sure. I think we have to move it here. But let's just think about this very quickly. So if we move it here, right? What's gonna happen? Maybe a check? No, check can't take place. Oh, you know what's gonna happen? The queen's just gonna move to... that's right. The queen's just gonna move to, for instance, g7, right? And it's gonna prevent our king to going to b2. So we had to go rook here to g2, I believe, to prevent queen g7. But there's also queen h8. So I don't know. I'm gonna try this. Yeah. Alright. So there was also queen h8, but notice the king is pushed back further away, right? And now we bring it all the way here. And notice now, since the king is here, our king can escape here just in case the queen goes to h8. That's right. So basically, the purpose of that waiting move was to, instead of directly going to c2, we went to g2 first and then back to c2. But the purpose of that was to get rid of this king. This king had a strong role in defending against d2. Now that the king is on f1, you can safely go to d2 and checkmate. But we have to be careful here. Because if we go to king d2 right now, it's not checkmate because this rook no longer has manipulation over this file, right? So what we got to do is we got to move our king this way, behind this rook. However, there's a queen here, right? So how do we get rid of that queen? I guess what we can do is we can just play rook here. Perfect. Now notice, queen really can't do much. All it can do is pretty much defend against that checkmate. Trade off the queen for the rook, but, this is still, losing for black. After rook b1, I believe it is all over. Queen g7 is a proposed move. Sorry, that was queen g2. Queen g7. After king d2 now, our king can escape. However, this looks pretty bad. I mean, king goes to d3. After king f3, rook just comes here. And after king has to come onto the g file, our rook just slides over and secures the king to the queen. So overall, this is completely crushing. Those two rooks are monstrous, and I believe we have won the game. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that daily puzzle for today. Please be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.